we were doing poetry, jazz and monologues at Blenheim, and we were kind of headhunted by your clever marketing people. Would you like to come to Gibraltar? And it just happened that my play was over and I was tired, and it seemed like it's a great show, actually. It really is. Jacqui Dankworth, Cleo Lane's daughter, such a breathtaking jazz singer, gentle, with a wonderful trio, cello and piano and accordion. And Jeremy Robson's poems. He was my publisher for 9 books. Anyway, but this book of mine has got monologues in it for people to perform. So I'm the people. I perform my own monologues, and it's brilliant because people just love it because it makes them challenge their imagination. I mean, my partner says to me, I don't understand why anybody likes those monologues, but that's because he's an engineer. You've really got to meet me halfway when I'm being somebody who's listening to someone else talking. You know, it's a trick that Alan Bennett pulled with Talking Heads. And they loved it. They loved the poems, they loved the music was delirious. And at the end, we all shouted, see you this time back next year in Gib. And the place went up, standing ovation. It was fab.
So you mentioned there that you were at Blenheim Palace when you were scouted, as it were, for the Gibraltar Literary Festival. So obviously you've been doing the rounds in terms of these festivals, these literary festivals. What do you get out of them, and what do you get out of writing in particular?
What do I get out of festivals? I think meeting people, seeing how much people still love to read in spite of all the digitalisation of life, coming to a place like Gibraltar, which I might not otherwise have done. So there's a culture here, which now I'll find out about. A great deal I didn't know, Michael, about the siege of Gibraltar, about the underground caves, and now also because at the festivals I've been seated next to your First Minister and your Governor General, so I've learnt a lot, and I'm curious, and I'm quite political too, so that's been, for me, that's been great. I said to your First Minister yesterday, I said to him, you know, why didn't you get some goats? Oh, I think it was, yeah. I said, get the goats. You've got limestone mountains, you've got spring flowers coming up. You know, you could have cheese, you could have milk, you could have mohair, you could have alpacas, and they love it. You know, they jump about. You've got this candy tuft stuff, this only it happens in Gibraltar, right? They'd love that. Get a few goats in. I had lots of ideas, actually, for tourism for Gibraltar. I had lots of ideas. You should have a detective here, you know, or a hospital. I suggested. I said, get a field hospital, because look where you're strategically placed. There's your Atlantic and the Med, and you could just be bringing in people with, you know, fresh from the carnage that's going on in the Middle East and from Africa. You know, there could be an isolation ward of Ebola. I mean, I'm talking about a TV series, not real life. Don't worry, Gibraltarians. I'm not suggesting we bring you Ebola, not for a moment. But, you know, it'd be great. It'd be a great TV series. I could be in it, could get a job.
There you go, canvassing already.
Yeah, it gives a job. There's lots of, it's got amazing scope here, you know, shopping, and I'm really enjoying it.
And you mentioned TV shows there. You're, of course, an acclaimed actress who's been on many television shows for many years, in particular some iconic British shows like Coronation Street, Casualty, Doctor Who, Jonathan Creek. How does that happen? Do they approach you, or do you approach them?
Ah, you're talking about the work of my agent. It's a long story. I've been around doing this for 48 years. I've been, you know, constantly on the television. I've been off the television. There's always something. I write a column for Standpoint. I write for Spectator Health. You know, I am a busy girl, but it does bother me when the work, the television work, isn't there, because without it, you don't really have a cachet for the theatre in England. You know, so I've just done a year on the best play I've ever done in my life. It's called Daytona, three-hander, with an American actor called Harry Shearer. And I know it had everything. It had everything that I love to do. It was sad. It was funny. I got to dance. I got to have a man in love with me. I mean, you can't put too high a price on that. It was an amazing year.
And apart from being an actress, you're also an author as well. You've written many books, a lot of them anecdotal, telling stories, funny stories, things from your point of view, things that have happened to you. Is that the sort of style of writing that you enjoy?
My late husband was a proper writer of 250 screenplays, Jack Rosenthal, and he used to say to me when I wrote my columns, he used to say, "I don't know how you do it." I said, "Well, I don't know how you do what you do." I have a gift for picking out the absurd in life. It's a journalist's gift, really, and making stories about it. You know, I mean, I'm the typical melancholic comedian, and we observe life, we poke fun at life, we poke fun at ourselves. We're vulnerable, we're insecure, our egos are too big and our confidence too small, all of that. And that makes for interesting writing. And Jack would always say, there's no such thing as a boring person, because if they're that boring, that's quite interesting. Writing for me is a diary, it's a sharing diary. I like people, I like to talk to people. As long as they level with me, I'm very happy to swap memories, swap stories. And out of that, I've got 9 books which seem to engage and make people laugh.
And will we have you here again next year?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I told them at the end. I said, "Oh, you inviting us back next year then?" "Yeah," they said. So who knows? Maybe I'll be whisked off to Hollywood and Steven Spielberg will put me in a film as a space creature. But if I'm not doing anything else, I'll be back. It's really nice. It's really overreached my expectations. You know, because a few times in I said, I'm going to Gibraltar next week, and people said, you know, "Why are you going there?" And I said, "Well, I don't know, I'm just going for this book festival." But I like the buzz, I like it, and the people I've met have been spectacularly hospitable and nice. So what's not to come back for?